Rise and shine, it's time for D is for drama. I'm your host, Shannon D, and today I am joined by a gorgeous lady.
Oh my God.
You can find her starring in films like House Party and Netflix's All Day and a Night, TV shows like Blackish, Will Trent, Modern Family, and so much more. Not to mention, she is a voiceover actor in movies like Ice Age, The Addams Family, the Spider-Verse movies, just to name a few. She's on an improv team at the famous Upright Citizens Brigade, and she just launched a new woo-woo comedy podcast for the spiritually curious and slightly unhinged. I'm Kinda That Witch.
Ooh.
Please welcome Shakira Ja'nai Paye.
Oh my gosh. Thank you. That was such a kind intro. Thank you so much.
Well, I'm exhausted from saying all of that.
Gotta put you to work already.
I know, you got quite the resume. That's so awesome.
Oh my gosh, thank you.
Now, do you remember how we met?
I remember doing a sketch,
Mm-hmm.
but I don't remember exactly how and where we met.
Okay, so this was like 8 years ago.
Yeah.
We had like a mutual friend or something, and you were looking for someone to film a sketch.
Yes.
I honestly did not know what I was doing. Like, I was faking it till I made it and was just like, I've got a camera, sure, I'll come and do it. And so I came over, and it was you and a bunch of your friends, and the sketch was about the bonnet.
Yes.
And you guys go, do you know what a bonnet is? And I was like, an 18th century hat. And I just lost it. And I was like, I'm such a loser idiot.
Oh my gosh. Yes, now I remember. That was Obama's Other Daughters days.
Yeah.
That was the name of
was.
my sketch improv group.
Well, because I had also worked with previously another all-black female sketch team.
Yes.
And I was in those sketches, and I was always like the token dumb white girl that like didn't know anything.
Yeah.
And then here I come into the other one, and I'm like, art is really imitating life.
Yes, you're like, I actually don't know what I love that we like iced you immediately.
It was
like,
so funny. I was so embarrassed.
No, it's fine.
But didn't that bonnet like come to life? It was like a spirit came into the bonnet, right?
Oh yeah, when we had it was the Sisterhood of the Traveling Bonnet. Oh my God. Yes. I was like, what was that sketch even about? So rather than the traveling pants, it was a bonnet. So it was like, oh, you put the bonnet on. It's like, oh my God, we had sex in Greece. Like, it's the bonnet. It's the bonnet.
That's right.
And then, that was a fun one. Oh
I was trying to find it. Is it anywhere?
Anywhere.
Well, we should try and find it.
I'm going to see if I can. Yeah.
You can see the awful quality of my filming.
Well, you can see how hot mess we all were. Like, that was like so long ago. You said you had a camera, you could film something. We said, great. We didn't check into any details.
Nope.
We didn't have any direction for you. We were like, you just have to record this, this, and this.
I was like, I just got to pretend like I know what I'm talking about. And the second I get there.
Yes. Oh my God.
Don't know what I'm talking about at all.
The traveling bonnet. I love that you remember that.
Well, tell me a little bit about your podcast.
Yes.
And how you got into spirituality. Have you always been into it?
I have slowly gotten to spirituality, and like, I live in LA, and I feel like everybody's a little bit spiritual, or at least faux spiritual. Like, it's sold to you in a way, a product of self-care and this and that. But I got into it. I used to be like quite Christian and was raised very Christian, and I didn't really question my beliefs until like maybe Trump's America, honestly. And then I was like, wait, what are y'all believing? What's the? So then I started having conversations and started to like see, and I had already been living in LA at that point for a few years. So I had already amassed a friend group of diverse folks who had different beliefs and different ideas. And I was already having conversations that didn't pertain to the religion that I was raised in. So then I started to, get into it, look into it, get into it. One of my favorite documentaries is this documentary called Surviving Death. It's on Netflix.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I did hear you talking about this on your podcast. Oh, yeah. I need to watch it.
I'm obsessed with this documentary.
What's it about?
It's about near-death experiences. Okay. So, and it also has mediumship in it. It also has children who had past lives. And it's just chock full of like
people who like kind of almost cross to the other side.
Near-death experiences are when you were technically they're called something else because people identify near-death experiences even when this doesn't happen.
Mm.
But you actually die in a near-death experience. And there's another word for it.
Because I feel like people use that term really fast and loose.
Yeah,
like sometimes they'll just say it.
I had a near-death experience.
Like
and
a car kind of almost went by them or something.
So in this documentary, it's like real ones where they were pronounced dead for a certain amount of time. So like it starts with a physician, a doctor, and you can Google her. She has a practice. She was pronounced dead and she has a picture like in the hospital within the documentary. She was dead for like 20 minutes. She was drowned underwater. She was in a kayak and her kayak went down a cliff and she nosedived into the water. Basically,
like a waterfall?
Like a waterfall.
Thing?
Yeah. So there was like the main entrance to the waterfall, which was like pretty dangerous.
Yeah.
And then there was this side entrance and another kayaker, a girl, was like stuck / blocking the side entrance. So she kind of had to make a split decision. Like, do I try and push her forward to get by her the safe way, or do I try out the unsafe way?
Oh, fuck.
And she tried out the unsafe way and literally dives into the water and is like dead.
But she was kind of like saving the other girl in the process?
No, she just was like she was doing sport and like just was making a quick decision, like what's the best decision. She didn't think she was going to die.
Right.
So like she was like, oh, this is steep and bad, but I'm a great kayaker. I can do it.
Yes.
And then as she like plummeted into the water, she says she like felt her spirit peel away from her body. And her kayak was like jammed in there and she was like under the water and they couldn't find her body for a while. And at one point the other kayakers were trying to find her body, and they found like her hat, her helmet, or like a floaty that she had on, and they were like, her husband might want this, because they were like, there's no way she's alive, she's under the water, we can't find her body under the water.
And it's been like, I mean, you drown within like 1 minute.
So she immediately like peeled from her body and said she was in the heavens, and she had this experience. And a lot of times when people have these near-death experiences, they say they felt a warm hug, they felt nothing but love. Like, death is usually looked at from this human existence as so scary.
Yes.
So to me, it's very reassuring and comforting to think that we're nothing but energy, and we go back to just like a higher light energy after we pass. And there's more than millions. There's millions of near-death experiences, and they mostly happen when people aren't inebriated. So it's not like a psychedelic trip. It's mostly like, there's like, even within this documentary, there's one where the woman is like, I was in the hospital and I could see the doctors, and she could explain. She told them everything. You use this on me. You use this. It's crazy. She didn't like fully like ascend to the heavens. She just was floating over her body in the hospital room.
Happening.
Yeah. And they fully had drained her brain to remove a tumor. She had no blood.
God.
She was dead. She had like they had to basically make her dead to remove a tumor. Like, so it's a very powerful documentary where near death. I know. So, I have a lot of people who have passed away. So that also piques interest, where like my father has passed away. All of my grandparents are passed away. I've lost aunties and cousins, and like just a lot of, folks have passed.
Yes.
So the idea is comforting to think like that they're in a different place, and people have experiences, whether it's ghosts or mediums, and there's so many experiences with folks on the other side, and because they aren't like tangible in the way that science is, that people try to discredit it, but it recurs so much that you can't discredit it.
How can it not be how can it not be true?
There's so much evidence, and that's what science is. It's just like testing. What is the definition of science? Like, it's like testing the evidence to eventually come to the result.
And it's like, how is this not enough evidence?
Yeah.
I have had friends that have gone to mediums where they'll legitimately say the people's names.
Yes.
And they didn't know anything about them, nothing. And it's like, how can that not be true?
Yeah.
And I always like believed in ghosts, but I was always like a little skeptical about mediums and stuff. But then once I experienced it, heard so much about others, and then I think just like then once I did start losing like grandparents and things like that, then it was like piqued my interest more, I would say.
Yeah.
Because before that, it was like you don't really have much understanding or even interest in talking to people that have passed, because you're like, I don't have anyone. Yeah. So who would I talk to? If anything, it seems scary. Like the spirits seem scary because how they're depicted in media.
Yes, of course.
As ghosts.
And they're scary and they want to hurt you, and poltergeists are gonna kill you in your sleep. Like, it's, and I do think there are potentially things you shouldn't be messing with spiritually. There's energies out there,
because call on them.
Yeah, you can call on energies that might like get you in a bind. So
Yeah.
I'm not just calling on any spirits.
I know, we got to keep the positivity.
Yeah. Just like there's positive energy with human existence, I'm sure there's positive and a balance of energies with
asshole ghosts. They're out there. Haunting us.
Mm-hmm.
What was your experience as a kid with ghosts? Like, were you afraid of them?
I was probably more afraid. I don't think I really thought about them that often.
You didn't?
Yeah, I really didn't. I was raised so Christian that the only ghost I knew was the Holy Ghost.
Yes. The Father, the Son, and...
The Father, the Son, and the Holy Ghost. So the only ghost I was thinking about was the Holy One.
Gotcha.
Yeah. And I really wasn't like tapped into much spiritually.
Yeah, it was just like, here's what you need to learn.
I was like,
this is what you have to believe.
Yep.
And you're just like, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you weren't afraid of scary movies and things?
Oh, I would be afraid of scary movies.
But then you wouldn't be scared in your regular life? Like, I just feel like I was terrified of ghosts.
I would be. I was terrified of like my shadows.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Anything and everything.
I was scared of like, is that someone there? Or,
yes.
Like I've always been a little more on edge in regards to like feeling safe. Mm-hmm. Like around whether that's grown ass men or they're scary too. Especially when you're a kid. It's
I know, I was just talking about that when I was a kid. I did not like men at all.
You don't feel safe around them.
Mm-mm. I mean, I loved my dad and my grandfather.
I was gonna say I love my grandfather,
but other than that, I was like, I don't want to talk to you.
Yeah. Why are you
like my friends' dads and stuff? I'm like, when they would come home, I'd be like, okay, bye.
Yeah.
Time for me to leave. That's my cue.
Ooh, you're weird. Truly.
It's like grown men and then ghosts right underneath.
Yeah. Same.
But I really was afraid of ghosts until I was like old, like
Whoa.
like late 20s old.
Oh,
like
wow.
I don't know. And then
Was
one
it
day
just
it just like went away. But I would wake up in the middle of the night petrified.
Do you feel like there was a ghost in your house? Maybe
I mean maybe that's what it was. But it was like every apartment house I grew up in, I always was terrified of them. And then once I moved into the apartment I'm in now, that fear went away. So I almost do wonder if like there actually was in those other places. It might have been a spirit
in there and you felt it.
Or if I just like grew out of it. I don't know.
Yeah.
But I've never had an experience. Like I've never had a ghost experience. So I don't know where that fear came from. But have you?
Yeah, I've had a ghost experience.
Do tell.
Oh, one was like fairly recent with my current apartment.
Mm-hmm.
The man who lived in my apartment passed away in the apartment.
Oh.
Yeah. So I legit like was like, feels like energies in here. It's kind of weird. And then one of my friends came over. She's like, you've got a ghost in here, Kara. Something's off. Like she's British. Yeah. And she was like, something's off. Like, and I was like, okay. And then another friend came over and was like, yeah, there's definitely
something going on.
And I was like,
I would move immediately.
Yeah, for me, I was like, okay, let's look up a ritual. Let's do a spell and ask them to leave and wish them the best. Like, I truly feel like sometimes spirits could potentially be trapped and they need a little help getting them moved to the next level because they don't realize that they're no longer in this human existence. He probably was walking around the house thinking I can just grab milk out the fridge and who is this person living in my house?
Who the hell is in my apartment?
Yeah, why is this person in my apartment? I'm like, you're like when
she's pretty. I'll let her stay.
Yeah. She's moving her stuff and what's going on? Like the Sixth Sense.
Yeah,
you know?
Exactly.
I see dead people.
Yeah, it's like they're stuck in purgatory, right? Isn't that kind of what it is?
Yeah.
That theory of like, it's almost like they
limbo.
I mean, and I feel like in media they've always depicted it as if like they have one last thing that they need to do before crossing over.
That is true. Sometimes, like when you think of the movie Ghost, and he had to like get Whoopi Goldberg to get his say, find his murderer, get his murderer arrested in the movie Ghost.
You know, I've never seen it. Okay, I need to.
Oh my gosh, Patrick Swayze.
I know, he's so funny.
Oh, I loved Patrick Swayze.
Well, I've heard that like the clay scene
yes,
is
the clay
like iconic,
scene
right?
is iconic. It's super sexy, but low key, it's like kind of sexy. No, I was just about to say a little gay in a fun way. Because like when I think back to it as a kid, I remember like her mind was imagining Patrick Swayze because Patrick Swayze's ghost had taken over Whoopi Goldberg's body, but really it was Whoopi Goldberg behind Demi Moore, straddling her, and they were doing the clay. But like what the camera showed us was like the energy between Patrick Swayze. They showed like the ghost of Patrick Swayze behind Demi Moore, and then like when they come out of the trance, we see that it's actually just like Whoopi Goldberg
humping on her
back. which is peak entertainment.
Love that.
I don't feel like anybody ever talks about how like, all right, but they're a little gay, right?
Yeah,
we love
for
it.
sure. Something going on there.
Yeah.
It's ahead of its time, honestly.
It was ahead of its time. It was ahead of its time.
Okay, so you were going to do a little seance, did
Oh,
you?
yes. Oh, yes. So I did a little seance. I put some black tourmaline out and like flowers and read something like from a spell book, basically, and asked the spirit to go. And now it feels pretty good. If he's there, he's much more chill.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I'm
but
pretty
did
sure
you,
he's
did
like,
you ever like you hear anything or you could feel it or it was your friends
it would be like you see a shadow, like, yeah. And you're like, am I seeing it? Like, and then you like open the, you know, like you, yeah.
It's like out of the corner of your eye kind of
yeah.
thing.
And you're like, did I light on real quick? And you're like, okay, maybe I'm crazy. Then you have a few moments where you keep having these moments where you like see a shadow or you hear a sound or you feel like someone's energy is right next to you. You're like, okay, I'm clearly losing my mind.
Yeah, yeah.
And then when other people say something's up,
Right. So
you're like,
okay,
so I am seeing a ghost basically, or I'm feeling the presence of a ghost and, you know, suddenly it's cold in the room type of energy.
Yeah.
You know, you're like, oh, why did it get cold? What's the chill? I know. But then once I got rid of them, I was like, okay, because I have such a deal in my apartment. I can't go anywhere. I'm trapped.
You're like, fuck.
I'm trapped. I can't. I was like, I guess we'll have to coexist together.
Yeah, exactly. You're like, are you going to be paying some of the rent?
Yeah.
Because I don't want a freeloader just hanging out here. Okay? If I have to stay in this apartment with a ghost,
that part,
you better do something.
I mean, they're still sending that man mail bills.
Oh, really?
I was like, can y'all just let this man rest in peace already?
Past due.
Yeah, his name is Justin, and I like will get literal like old, I think health bills. I don't really open it because even though it's not my.
Right.
Can I open a dead man's mail? I don't know. It comes to my
house.
house. So that's my address.
Illegal? I don't know.
Well, he's no longer alive. So I don't know if it's illegal, but I mostly don't open it. I think I only opened one time because I was like, what the fuck are they sending him?
What is going on?
Yeah.
How old was he? Do you know how he died?
Died the same way his father died is what I heard. He had like a blood clot thing or something because I had a neighbor who ended up getting evicted who was his best friend. Oh, shit. Yeah, he got evicted from the building.
He was like young.
Well, he was young. He was young too.
Like he didn't die of old age. Like
no,
it wasn't an old age
he was
thing.
like probably 50, 40s, 50s.
Damn.
Yeah. And his friend who lived in the building was like, like 50s. And I remember when I first moved in, he was like, did Albert tell ya? Did Albert tell ya? He died in that. He was pronounced dead at the hospital, but he died in the apartment. He's supposed to disclose that information. Like he came in hot, and I was like, I don't know this man. I said Albert didn't tell me, but I was also like, even if Albert told me, I would probably still move into this
because it's a really good.
It's a really good deal.
But you're like, well, no wonder it was a good deal. It makes sense now.
And I'm like, in 2018, after I was like, okay, I'm not having a roommate, and I was thinking I would have to move into like a studio or 1-bedroom, and got a 2-bedroom for the price of a 2-bedroom.
Hell yeah!
I know.
Well, actually, I have a story about about that.
Oh,
if we want to just hop into it, it's a good little segue.
Yeah, let's do it.
About moving in somewhere where someone died. Dun, 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 dun. My wife, 34F, and I, 36F, have been house hunting for what feels like forever. And we've been having a hard time finding a good home in our budget. Well, last week, we finally found a home that's truly perfect for all of our needs. Right in our price range, in a good school district, plenty of rooms to grow a family, close to our family and friends, and lots of outdoor space for our pup. We were so excited until the realtor disclosed that there was a death in this house.
Oh, no.
I personally don't have an issue with this, and my wife is a nurse in a hospital, so I thought for sure she'd be fine with it. Well, she wasn't.
Oof.
She's a bit nosy and did some digging and discovered a murder took place there just 2 years prior.
Oh, no, not a murder.
I'll spare you the details, but it was a pretty gruesome situation according to news articles.
Oh, no.
I still didn't care, honestly, because of how perfect the house was, but she was totally freaked out, scared about the evil spirits living in the home.
Yeah.
I suggested we have a ceremony or some kind of ritual, maybe sage the place. I don't really believe in that stuff, but if it would make her feel better, I'm down to do any of it. Well, she still wasn't having it. I asked her how this is any different than all of the patients she comes across on a daily basis in the hospital who die right in front of her. Not to mention, her workplace is quite literally where thousands of people have died.
Oof.
It's bound to have spirits in there, right? She said it's different because they didn't get murdered. I said, well, some of them did die from murder wounds. And she said, well, the hospital isn't where the scene of the crime happened. It's just bad energy.
Ooh.
I'm so deflated because this house is truly perfect and I am exhausted from house hunting. But I love my wife so much and I want her to feel safe in our home. What do I do?
Ooh. If she's nervous about that, then and at a level where it wouldn't be comfortable, I don't really think there's much. I think you got to find a new house.
I know. It's
There's
like,
really,
what can you do? She's
what
going to
can you
be
do?
terrified all the
Yeah.
time. That's
There's
what
no
sucks about
deal.
that, like having to disclose that thing. It's like ignorance is bliss.
Yeah. But then on the one end too, with like, when I think of murder, usually it's unfortunately men murdering women. So I'm thinking she read this
Statistically.
article of this woman getting slaughtered, but she was like,
She's like,
I can't imagine. Like, she's like, what if there's
Am
a
I
spirit
next?
here? Yeah. And that spirit takes over you, my man.
Yeah,
You got to think like that, bro. Like, if this spirit is like, the spirits we see in movies where suddenly, the person can't help but be violent.
That's true. Although actually this is 2 women.
Oh, it's 2 women.
Yeah, 30,
I love that.
34F and 36. Yeah, female. So
Okay.
she doesn't have to worry about that. No.
I really think just words have power. If everything is energy and there is a spirit that has energy and you want that spirit gone, you have to use your energy and your words.
Yeah.
And what you can do to move it.
Yeah, it's like
if we can, you know what I mean? Like if we can manifest anything and we can, affirm anything, why can't we just talk to this energy? Like
get it
gone. Get it gone.
Because that is one thing that I never understood or really thought about, was the fact that we could potentially have the power to get them going. If they have the power to stay there, maybe we could have the power to get them out of there.
Start thinking of us as energy, like they are energy, and not like them as like having power over you because they're in a different realm.
Yeah, just like a scary thing.
Yeah, like they're scary. They're in a different realm. That's how people feel about aliens. Like they're scary. They're different. I'm like, yeah, they're just on a different planet. They're a whole species. It's just like turtles are a different species, or
right.
I don't know. Ducks are not a different species, but they're different from humans.
Right. Yeah. Well, yeah, they're different species.
Yeah, they
right?
are different species.
Yeah.
Well, then suddenly I was like, wait, are they mammals? Then I was like, no, reptiles. We can coexist together. Same with aliens. Different, but it would be delusional to believe like things don't exist outside of this very human experience. Like we're on a floating rock amongst gazillions of space and other rocks and other planets. To me, that's what it seems like. Yeah.
No, I agree. Totally.
Yeah.
I mean, we're all like atoms at the end of the day, right?
Yeah.
And
what are atoms made up of? 99% energy. Only 1% of an atom is matter. Less than 1% of an atom is actual matter.
Oh, interesting.
We dictate with our thoughts that this is what our bodies and realities are because we create them. Because just inevitably, atoms don't really take form until we have to form it into
something.
Talk it into, create it into existence, speak it into existence. Isn't that crazy?
Love that.
When you think about the fact that atoms literally account for 99%, whether you say water or energy or just space, they aren't actual. It's not tangible. Only 1% of what an atom is tangible. And yet we're made up of atoms.
Yeah.
We're
and that's why it's like, how is spirituality and science like not more linked?
Yeah. To keep us trapped. They want to get rid of the femininity.
I know. I love that. I do want you to talk about this.
Just a little bit, right?
Yeah.
Because you do feel like, okay, because we live in such a patriarchy, in order for capitalism to thrive, we have to be in our masculine, we have to be in our girl boss, we have to be in our work. And that trap mindset to keep the working class and working bees, because if we lean into our femininity, which is our ease, receiving, less chase, like, you know what I mean? Like, not, I don't chase, I attract.
Yes.
That whole energy makes capitalism and the patriarch and like even us, because we've all bought into it, feel like, wait, I have to be doing. If I'm not doing, then I don't deserve. And that's just
So
simply not true.
true.
Yeah. But we feel that way, right? Like,
Absolutely.
if I didn't work hard, I was lazy today, I don't deserve to be
Oh, I'm so
joyous.
guilt
I'm
ridden
yeah.
when I don't do anything.
All day. And you're like, or even for a few hours, like some people just feel like they have to task. And like we didn't come into this existence to work to death. Like,
Mhm,
you know what I mean?
true. Gotta
Retirement's at like
enjoy it.
60.
Yeah.
People are retiring and, life expectancy in America is like 70, 75.
Crazy. That's it.
Depending on, race and ethnicity
Yeah.
and all that. I mean, race and ethnicity, sex.
Yes.
Yeah. Women live longer than men most of the time.
Well, and that's the other thing too, is that spirituality just gets
Yeah.
made fun of and mocked so much as well.
Yeah.
So then, it's getting put down as
Mhm.
well. And so that is just another example of the
Mhm.
patriarchy, like pushing down the divine feminine.
Yeah.
And it's important to have both.
Yes.
We need a balance though. And
Yeah.
the masculine is just so outweighing the feminine in the world right now.
Yes. And we feel it.
Oh yeah.
And it's toxic. And that's where the toxicity for masculinity isn't just toxic. It's when there's like no yin and yang within it. It's when we lean into and we raise young men to like not have the sociable skills that women have and not feel like they can cry or emote in a healthy way and repressed emotions. And then they lean into, well, if you do any of these things, it's feminine. And that means
it's bad.
It's bad,
Mhm.
which just creates this level of the culture that we're living in, and we feel it.
It's really sad.
Yeah, where guns and bombs and war is outweighing like beauty and ease and grace and love.
It's sad, you guys. Let's bring back the feminine.
Yes, divine feminine.
But with this one, I do feel like I think that they make a good point that, you are surrounded by death all the time.
Yeah.
And spirits, which I never thought about that with hospitals before for some reason.
They always feel eerie.
I guess I haven't spent a lot of time in there, but I've never thought about like, oh, they must be haunted because there's so much death happening there. I think maybe because I just think of it as very like scientific and sterile and not so much about the spirit happening there.
Yeah.
I'm more just like, oh yeah, like that's where they're going to, try not to die. But and it's just like there's so much chaos happening that I guess I just never really thought of it in that way. And I do think people probably have that eerie feeling about hospitals.
I do feel like when people die in a hospital, like their spirit leaves the hospital.
I kind of think so.
But I wouldn't be surprised if some don't know how to.
Yeah.
One thing that happens in hospice, a few hospice nurses have written books about when the patient is starting to transition the last few days, they start speaking to like people who are dead.
Yes.
And ancestors.
My grandfather did that.
My grandmother did that too. And she like suddenly was calling out to her brother, help me, help me. Yeah, it was eerie, but she's in the middle. She's between life and death. So on the other side, she can see them. Totally. She suddenly started talking about her stepfather, who my mom was like, I didn't know she had a stepfather. I didn't know anything about this man. She said he was a good man and I was just talking to him. And
was she like in her sleep or she was conscious?
She was like here, but like
kind of on another plane.
On a different plane. She had already started to
cross over.
Yeah, because she's in hospice. So she was already starting to cross over, but she didn't die that day when she was already having these experiences, but she was already. What happened with your grandfather?
Well, he had a really bad dementia at this point. So he wasn't really verbally talking, but you could like just sense it. Yeah, that he was like having conversations and like his eyes were kind of going. I'll have to ask my mom exactly, but they were like, he's for sure like mid crossing over. Because it had been like, I think he was on hospice for like 2 weeks. He held on for a while because his body was like still fairly strong compared to his mind. But they do say that they kind of like are in both realms, which I honestly love that. It's like a nice transition.
It's a nice transition. Yeah, she was asking
like, boom,
for like help and talking to them like they were there. And my grandmother, before she passed, like her body wasn't mobile, but her mind, that woman didn't forget a thing. She had opinions. Like she was very of sound mind. So when she started transitioning and seeing her like talk to
she was like having
relatives, having full conversations. My mom said, I didn't know she had a stepdad. She was telling me all this. Da, 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 da. My mom's really uncomfortable with anything like these conversations.
Yeah.
So, because I was trying to play the documentary Surviving Death, because there's a moment where a hospice nurse talks about this, and she said, "I don't like this stuff. Turn this off. This is like demonic, basically." And I'm like,
yeah. It's like
okay,
not
but
Christian.
it's not Christian. Which I was like, girly.
It is though.
It is though.
Hello.
Yeah. So
I know,
and
they have a hard time.
yeah. So I was like, okay, I won't push it.
But I do feel like with the woman who is freaked out about the murder,
yeah,
I guess like she's probably just used to the hospital being that way. And
yes.
it's like, this is my job. I'm compartmentalizing.
Mm-hmm.
I know to like, I'm coming to work here. This isn't like my
and at
safe
home you open
space.
up.
Yeah.
It's your safe space. You open up. You're more receptive. So if she,
really
and
true.
even if she had like experienced anything that might be a spirit at work, she probably like was like, okay, this is a work thing. I can cut this off. I can get rid of this. Like, I don't bring this home with me. And if I go home into a house,
it's like I kind of want to not be near that stuff when I'm around it all day anyway. And when I'm at home, I want that to be my safe space.
Yeah. And if she read the news article, I don't know about you, but
It'd be
like,
hard to forget that.
I can't forget. I've read news articles or seen like Instagram videos of violence, and if I was in that space, I would be like, "That happened in this room." Oh God, I would personally like not forget it. Yeah.
I know, especially like a gruesome murder.
A gruesome murder that had details. It was like her body was found here, and there was blood here, and this and that. And I'm like, I can't imagine reading those details and knowing how this house is built and knowing it happened in this house.
I know.
And like,
and then imagine if you knew the room it happened into. It'd be like, all right, let's block that off.
Right?
Fill it with cement. Get rid of it. It's not like the murderer's spirit is in there. It's like the person who got murdered, though. So I can't really imagine they would be an evil
Why wouldn't the
spirit.
Is the murderer alive still or dead?
Oh, I guess they didn't say. Unless it was like a murder-suicide. But I feel like maybe she would have mentioned that. But if it was just the victim, I mean, maybe then they're on like some revenge shit or whatever. Like maybe that is a spirit that's more prone to like staying there because they have unfinished business.
Yeah.
But
because like on my ghost episode, there was Cleo or Chloe, a former enslaved woman, and she still haunted the plantation she was enslaved on, but she had killed
because she's like,
she killed the family.
She
slave
did?
masters, yeah. So like then
yeah.
So but they said that her spirit still haunts that place. So that's like some strong ass energy to still be haunting the goddamn. I'm like, girly, ascend, get away from this plantation. It's been enough.
Don't want to be where all the drama and trauma was in your whole life.
D is for drama.
That's right. I mean, I think like it's like maybe, I mean, I don't know how you'd be able to give it a chance because it's not like you can just like squat there for the night because it's not your home. But that does just suck. Like it, like house hunting and finding the perfect one in the right price range is so
Is it
difficult.
in LA?
It didn't say.
It didn't say. They'll
but
find
it's like
another
near all your
one.
friends. Yeah, and I think for the sake of your wife, like that's gonna suck. You're gonna like truly, you're gonna be dealing with this for the rest of your life, and it's not gonna be worth it. You're gonna be dealing with her being like all the time, like you know, and it's like I'm sorry, just selfishly, that's not great for you.
Yeah, that part.
Because then you got to deal with this.
Yeah,
and then. Like with your kid, like once you have kids and stuff, and then you know, maybe she's like, guess what happened here, you know, like,
and if anything does, like, if you can't get that out of your mind, there's no peace. So just find a new place. It sucks when you're hunting and you know you can't find the place, and then you find the place, and then there's an issue. But what sucks more than hunting for a house is haunted in a house.
Yes. Amen. Exactly.
Let me do this punny thing.
Yeah. So our advice is move on.
Move on. Find a new place. Sorry.
Because you don't know, like, the rituals could be a good thing to try out, but you also don't know, like, if that's going to ease her mind or not. And also, like I was saying, when are you going to be able to do that unless you've bought the house? Yeah. They're not going to, like, let you test drive it for a night.
Yeah. And then I also was thinking, too, with dreams. I told you, one of my other ghost stories was within a dream.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I can say it now.
I'll
tell that. Okay. So, my other ghost story, I was in Turkey, in Istanbul, and I had a dream about my aunt who passed away. And I didn't know what happened, but I felt like she was like there. And I was like, whoa, that was weird. I had never ever had a dream about a deceased relative before, or felt the energy of a deceased relative like in sleep.
And you were also saying like you don't really like remember your dreams that often,
Yeah,
right?
yeah. I never remember my dreams unless I write them down right away. But I woke up from this feeling like, whoa,
It's
Mom
vivid.
Lizzie was there. Something was happening, and there was like a family table, and she was trying to tell me something. And then I fully went about my day. Didn't think twice about it. Literally the next day, had another dream. Same exact energy, same exact feeling. Woke up, was like, whoa. Okay, Mom Lizzie is definitely in my dream. She's definitely trying to tell me something. Yes. I don't know what she's trying to tell me. Felt like a family meeting of some sort. Yeah. And I went down in the hotel and had breakfast with my best friend. And I was like, I had a dream of my aunt now 2 nights in a row. And I think she's trying to tell me something. She's like, what's she trying to tell you? I was like, I think she wants me to do something. What does she want you to do? I don't know. And I'm like, okay. I journaled about what I could remember from the dream and just like the whole experience. And then we went and, did tour stuff. And then I get back to the States and I find out my Aunt Lady, her sister, but my father's twin sister, had passed away. And nobody had found the body.
Oh,
so So her body, I think what my aunt had wanted me to maybe do is to relay that she had passed away and help find the body.
Yeah, because of
or
like a week.
Yeah, she was just in her apartment and nobody had checked on her for like a week.
This is your dad's sister.
Yeah, my dad's twin sister.
But it was the other sister that was giving you the message and she had already passed, right?
So the other sister who had already passed, who I had a closer relationship with, was giving me a message in my dreams.
Go and find her, please.
Go and find her. Go get her body, basically. I couldn't pick up what she was putting down, but I'm sorry. I'm sorry, Aunt Lizzie.
but it's like,
but it was very much like wild because that's the closest I feel like I felt spoken to directly from like an ancestor.
Yeah.
So yeah.
That's
and then
crazy.
It wasn't even the ancestor who had just passed. Like it was just.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Yeah.
Well, maybe
so I'm wondering if
she already kind of like knew how to do that stuff. Because I hear like when they're brand new.
Yeah.
I've heard that it's like you're on different planes.
Yes. So she might not have even made it up to the plane yet, or she was still trying to figure out how to
like,
get out of her apartment.
I'll relay the message.
Maybe once they found the body, her spirit realized like, okay, I have to leave this apartment and ascend. I don't know what the process of it. I think everybody has a different process, honestly.
I have dreams a lot about my grandma that passed away that I was super close with. Oh, wow. And they feel so real.
Because they are.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But then every now and then I feel like it is one that feels more like it's a dream and it's kind of in my mind.
Yeah.
But then there are specific ones where it's like I run up to her and it's always the same thing. It's like I know I'm seeing her for the first time in 7 years, and I run up to her and then I am spending the day with her and I know that it's she's going to be gone the next day. It's like I'm very aware that I'm spending time with her spirit.
Yeah.
So it really feels like it's not just a made up dream, some dreams are just made up in your mind. I don't know. I haven't dug that deep into it, but
some things I've heard about dreams, it's time traveling to alternate realities. Sometimes I hear it's easy because we're both vibrating at a similar level for ancestors or spirits to reach us because we aren't in our conscious mind, we're in our subconscious, and our subconscious is where little children are, where they're yay, everything is play and I'm here. Yes. And then they cry when they really feel something, and then they play really hard when they just, you know what I mean? They're literally in their subconscious mind. So that's why when people are trying to discover their inner child, it's really getting back to that level of freedom and freedom.
Yes, exactly.
But also too, when you are in your subconscious mind, you have access to a lot more spirit energy, and
yeah, that makes sense.
Kids are so intuitive and grandma's here.
Well,
that type of stuff, right?
I have a story that's exactly
right.
Like
oh my
that.
Gosh. Okay.
We'll get into it.
Yes.
I also feel like kids are just closer to that realm, the past lives that they've had and stuff, and being on the other side, that they're more susceptible to that as well. But I'll tell this little story and then we'll get into that more. But this is a listener right in.
Ooh.
So I was talking to one of my friends on the phone today, and she was driving to her parents' house and her daughter was in the car. When they got to the house, her daughter was really trying to get out of the car. My friend was like, wait, I'm on the phone. We'll get out in a second. And her daughter goes, Grandma wants to show me a bunny. Her grandma, aka my mom's friend, died in December of 2023. My friend went on to tell me that her daughter actually talks about seeing grandma a lot. Like she'll go to the fridge and get 2 snacks and then sit down on the floor and starts talking to nothing. My friend will ask her who she's talking to, and she'll say grandma.
Oh,
isn't that sweet?
It's sweet. A little scary, but
a
sweet.
little scary. But I feel like I would love it to know that, like, my daughter, who
Yeah.
was she was also saying that she was 3. The daughter's 3, so she was like 1 at the
Yeah.
time that the grandma died. Like, I would be like, that's so amazing that
Aw.
my mom and my daughter have a connection. And it
Yeah.
makes sense that the grandma would want to come back and like play with her granddaughter that she
Didn't
get a
this
chance
to, or spend time with and really get to know.
I know, but pretty creepy, right?
Yeah, I love that. But that's very common. Like a lot of times people end up writing whole movies about this because it happens.
Yeah, they are like connected to
Yeah, past lives. And like, I'm sure she lived a past life with grandma, or she's connected more so to that subconscious.
the soul tribe.
Yeah, her soul tribe.
Mm-hmm.
So I do feel like she definitely might be like connected to grandma, even if it's just in this existence. Like, yeah, she's there.
I know. I almost feel like I would be like, oh my God, well, can I talk to her too? Can
Yeah.
you tell her X,
Ask
Y,
her
and
something.
Z?
Yeah. I think that's also such a fun thing. Like, ask her a detail, and if she gives you the detail back, then you are like, whoa, okay, that really is my mom.
Oh my God, that would be cool.
Right? Yeah.
Yeah, because kids really are my mom. Like, my mom always says that, like, once I have kids, when they're under, like, you know, around this age and younger, like, ask them, like, who did you used to be? Or like, where did you used to live?
Yes.
Ask some questions like that, because she
And
used to
record
say
it.
that, yes, because she always regrets that she didn't record.
Oh,
I would say like really wise things that it was like, there's no way like a little girl would
yes.
know this.
Yes.
She's like, I really wish I wrote them down, but it was like so clear that you had a lot of past lives.
Yeah.
That you're just like, where the hell is this wisdom coming from? I didn't teach you this. So
there's in that same documentary, there's a kid part, and it's about kids who had past lives. And like, there's this one little boy who is maybe 3. He was like, yeah, that's my old mommy. Yeah. And and he's showing pictures like, okay, where would you, because they looked up this family, a very sad story. His last lifetime, he was a Black kid, and the nanny killed or let the child die, basically.
Shit.
Yeah.
What, and he relayed that message?
No, he's like, I used to be blah, blah, blah. I used to be someone else. And then the mom was like, oh, you used to be someone else. Who were you? And he said, Anthony, da, 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 da.
Oh,
she said,
fuck.
what name did you? You just said a full first and fucking last name. Yes.
She's expecting him to say, like, I was a turtle.
Yeah. And then she's like, once I got the name, I Googled it. And then she said there was a child who had passed away 2 years before I had gave birth to my son.
Oh my God.
And then they started showing pictures. She started asking him, like, do you know this woman? He said, yeah, that was my old mommy. That's my first mommy. And then like,
wow.
yes. And you like you can't force a 3-year-old to lie about this.
No,
So when you
how would they
don't
know
even
that?
know. And then he's
like
with the
Googling
doctor.
like news articles in the area.
Then like he'll go back to coloring. Just like
he's just like a psycho.
Yeah.
Like Boss Baby. He's like actually an adult that's like scheming.
Yes.
On your podcast, you've talked about how your past lives have been like on other galaxies.
Oh, yeah. Yes.
And I have always kind of felt that way too, because when I was little, I used to say when I would be really upset, I would say that I wanted to go home. And I'd be like cuddled up in my mom's arms, like in my house, as close to home as I could possibly be. And I still would be crying, like, I want to go home.
Yes.
And I think it was that I was like,
You're
just not from Earth or
something.
Yeah.
I feel that way too. Even as a grown up, I'm like,
I don't belong here.
I don't belong here. Next lifetime, please remember, go back to your planet. Really. Truly. I think even in that regard, there's so many different species. And I did a psychic reading with this psychic who I'm a huge fan of, and I finally got in with her. Her name's Jude. When we had our reading, she was like, yeah, you usually don't come in as a human. Like, this is one of the few human lifetimes you've lived. Yeah, I actually recorded her whole thing. I wonder if I still have it on my laptop. I need to rewatch it.
Did she mention you being an animal? Oh, well, you said you were a dinosaur.
Yeah, I was a dinosaur. Sometimes I'll just be making shit up.
Do you know which kind?
Oh, let's see, a T-Rex maybe? I don't know.
Good. Yeah. You'd be munching on
Just
on
munching
the people.
killing
not
people.
the people.
Don't they eat
The other
plants?
dinosaurs.
The other dinosaurs, yeah.
If you were to come back as another animal, what would you want to come back as?
I feel like something that would be in the ocean if I was in,
Oh,
or
that would be fun. Like a whole new
Right?
experience.
a whole new experience. I do feel like the ocean is like a portal, and it's like
Yeah, there's something going on down
something
there.
happening, like a dolphin in the ocean. How fun would that be?
So fun.
Right?
Or a humpback whale.
Yeah.
Anything that can kind of like play. Like I feel like
Yeah.
a mammal in the ocean would be fun.
Yes. And I guess I would be torn on how I don't want to be too smart.
Oh yeah, no.
I feel
I don't
like-
want too much consciousness.
Yes.
But dolphins supposedly are very smart.
I know. That's why I was torn between a dolphin
Yeah.
and like just a random fish that doesn't have a lot of
I
consciousness.
know, because whales also are very intelligent too. Like they
Yeah.
connect with their young, like in a very
Yeah.
emotional way. So
Having to be human and be aware of being human and dealing with this existence.
it's a lot.
It's a lot. It's exhausting. I said,
Yeah.
oof. I need something fun. I feel
Yeah.
like dolphins have
Lighthearted.
fun, but they have like killed themselves
Birds.
over love. So
That's true.
maybe they're too stressed. Maybe
Well,
that's
and
too
they
stressful.
also, did you hear about how male dolphins rape the females all the time?
Oh no.
Supposedly in the marine biology community, if
Oh,
anyone knows, correct me if I'm
no.
wrong, but they hate dolphins because supposedly dolphins are like really awful creatures, like similar to humans in that way. But if you think about it, they are, I think.
Yeah,
Again, I
humans
might
have
be-
had relationships with dolphins.
Oh,
There's that
I
one
know,
where,
that
like-
documentary.
Yeah.
It's disgusting, but it kind of makes sense because I think
Yep.
they are in like top 5 smartest animals.
Oh, yeah.
And
They are.
facts speak for themselves on that one.
That part.
But I was thinking that I would maybe want to be a domesticated cat
Ooh, we love.
that is also an outdoor cat though.
Yes.
So they like have a life of their own. They probably have
Yeah.
friends that
In
are like
Europe
in
or
the
something, like in
alleys.
Turkey.
Yes.
I would
and they're
love
very
that.
chic.
Very
But then
chic.
you come home at night, you get
Yes.
fed, you don't have to hunt.
Yes.
And then you can be like you can like decide if you want to be cuddly with your owners or you could be like totally distant if you want. You can be like
Yes.
hot and cold. You're allowed to do whatever the fuck you want.
Yes, we love.
Because I was thinking a dog, but you are very reliant on your owner when you're a
Yes.
dog. When you're a
Mhm.
cat, you can just come and go as you please.
Easy.
That would
Not
be
as long as
so
you're in
nice. You have
like
9 lives.
I know. As long as you're in a safe place, because I want my cats to be indoor, outdoor, but I can't.
No, yeah, exactly.
get
You
eaten by a
need somewhere
coyote.
that you need like kind of like a small town because
Yeah.
we had a lot of indoor outdoor cats, but honestly, they would die a lot.
Yes. And they get hit by cars or they get eaten by coyotes.
Well, you got to just be
often.
like a little
But
bit
like that's why I said
more
like turkey.
slick. Yeah.
Because those cats are running that town.
That's their
They're
town.
running. That's their town. They own that city.
Okay, perfect. I'm
Yeah,
coming back
that
as a cat
country.
in Turkey.
Like you got to go to one of those countries where the cats are just like catered to.
Or Egypt. Back in the day, though, weren't they?
Oh,
They're
yeah,
like
worshipped.
renowned,
Yeah,
right?
Yeah.
I'll come back as a cat in Egypt, but in the Cleopatra days.
Okay, break the timeline.
Yeah, I'm breaking the timeline.
Love. What is time? Time
There's
doesn't
no
exist.
rules.
Yeah.
There's no rules. I'll be
Love.
Cleopatra's cat.
Oh, amazing. That's a
There
great
you go.
life.
There you go.
That is a great life.
All right, let's get into another story, shall we?
Yes.
I have been with my wife for 12 years. She has
Mhm.
always been interested in spiritual and occult things, astrology, tarot cards, sage cleansing, pagan practices, spell rituals, etc. But nothing negative like hexes or ghosts. Most importantly, she has never been hardcore about it. She has a full-time job and is well-adjusted socially. She says she is, quote, in the broom closet and has lots of books on the topic, but she hides them when either of our parents come over. Her closest friends know, though. I don't believe in any of it, but it can be fun and doesn't bother me. I'll let her read my palm or cards, but don't take it seriously. She uses it to channel her energy, improve herself, and luckily isn't into death, skull, bones, and gothic things. We have a 10-year-old daughter who my wife is slowly starting to introduce to this world. And I think my wife is getting more into it now that she has someone to play with. They sage cleansed our new apartment.
Hell yeah.
They burn incense, do yoga, buy crystals.
Okay.
They never shut up about Halloween and watch Tim Burton, but blow off Christmas.
What about
my-
Christ?
What about Christ, though? When my daughter is upset, she will burn incense and use crystals. My daughter started telling friends at school that she's a pagan and a witch,
Okay.
and they reject her and think she's weird. Note, my wife doesn't define herself as a witch, though. My wife wants to take her to pagan festivals, which I won't attend, but I'm sure it's full of weirdos. Again, my wife is not pushing the depressed/goth angle, but I'm worried my daughter is going to grow up pigeonholed.
Tell us you hate it without telling us you hate it.
Literally. I'm afraid that my daughter is going to be pigeonholed in this weird, dark spiritual realm and unequipped to deal with issues in the real world.
Whoa.
How do I tell my wife to chill on this stuff until our daughter is older, or never even introduce it to her at all?
That's the thing with parenting. I'm not a parent, but I do feel like whatever the parent is into, like I have friends who are Christian, who are Muslim, who are Jewish, and they went to schools where they, especially, Jewish folks, they go to these schools where they learn about this thing. Like to her, it's not her religion necessarily, but it is something she practices, and it's something that's important to her. And if it's not hurting anyone, if you're not like outside trying to take away other people's rights based off of your beliefs, I don't really see much. I know, because that's what a lot of
organized religion
yeah.
is. Yep.
Yeah,
they just
we
can't
don't
let people
stand
live
with this. We want to take away your abortion right. We don't believe in abortion. Then don't get one, honey.
That is my
biggest
problem with organized religion. It's like I don't understand why you can't just be okay that other people believe other things. That's what the entire world is
don't
made
transition.
up of. Exactly.
You don't have to.
No one's making you.
No one's making you. No one's like, just be kind. Like, be fucking kind. Like, isn't that what the root of what you're supposed to be teaching and what you believe? And so like for me, when I hear this, one, he's saying I'm not judging her, but he's fully judging her. Came in with a clear opinion about it all. Was like, she's into that witchy stuff. As long as she doesn't say she's actually a witch, I'm okay with it.
I know there's so much language there. Like, she's a weirdo.
Yeah.
You clearly are not into this, which is like, why did you marry this person?
Yeah. If she's not hurting anyone, if your daughter's not hurting anyone, then I don't see why create problems where they don't exist. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. Now, I do get like, as parents, you have to be aware of what information your kids are taking in. And like, when you watch that, did you watch that TV series Adolescent?
Oh,
and they weren't the worst parents.
No.
They just didn't have the bandwidth to show up. They didn't know what he was watching at night and what was actually what's happening in school.
A lot slide.
And also too, when you think of, like, I went to public school in Baltimore. So my school wasn't as bad as that school in Adolescent, but like, good Lord.
Close.
It was rough. Yeah. Middle school was very rough. And we didn't have phones and social media. So I think that was the only difference.
God.
If we had phones and social media, because I was actually a weirdo and got picked on in middle school.
Yeah.
But I know. Really? Yeah, but not for like witchy reasons, just for being myself.
Well, I was going to say that too. It's like, if it's not this, it's going to be something else.
Yeah.
Who wasn't picked on in middle school?
Yeah.
I mean, truly.
I'm like, if anything, you should be like teaching your daughter how to stand in her truth.
Yeah.
Be herself, and that it's okay to be herself, and that she doesn't have to try to conform.
Yeah.
And that if anything, like, this is how you respond to bullies. This is how you respond to mean people. This is how you stand in your truth and like be authentically yourself.
Because that is kind of what the issue. If you guys haven't seen Adolescence, like, you really have to. It's literally like some of the best acting I've ever seen in my life. Like, writing everything. They literally shot each episode in one take. The camera's just moving all around.
Crazy.
It's amazing. This kid. It's not a spoiler to say that he ends up. He murders a girl in middle school, and
it opens with him being arrested. Like, the opening shot of the TV series is that.
They weren't talking to him about bullying. Like, he was getting bullied. Like, he was bullying others. Like, there was just no open dialogue really between the parents. And I feel like that is, I mean.
Yeah.
I'm not a parent. We're not parents. But that has to be one of the hardest part of is like.
And like, they were like, he'd be in the room on his computer at night, and we didn't really
know all the stuff that he's getting fed.
The
Andrew Tate shit. The what we were talking about earlier, the like masculine just taking over the whole world, and people hating women.
Yeah. Like, that's how important it is, I guess, as a parent to be like really tapping in here. Because I was like, if anything, it sounds like the mom is spending a good amount of time with her daughter and tapping into her heart and her mind in a way. Dad, what are you doing?
And like, it doesn't sound like what? They're doing yoga.
Yeah.
They're doing like
Crystals.
And like, yeah, I
They're
guess
not
maybe there are
summoning
some
spirits.
pagan practices and like spell rituals, but that's just like kind of fun. And people love like Tim Burton and Halloween. Like there are certain
Yeah.
people out there just that love that aesthetic. Like, and also you married this woman.
Yes.
There is going to be a good chance that your child is going to have the similar interests that your wife has. That's what I think a lot of people don't realize when they procreate with people. It's like, you know, that's half of that person. So you better procreate with people you like because you might have a kid that is just like them.
Yup.
And so I just don't understand like why he would be so upset about it. It's like, you knew who you married.
Yeah.
It just is baffling to me. And yeah, like you were saying, kids are going to deal with this stuff. It's like teaching them about resilience.
Yes.
And also it sounds like she's proud to be this way.
Yeah.
She's going in there and she's saying that she's like this.
That's what she likes. I'm like, unless she's hurting someone, I don't really see what the problem is. If anything, you should learn about what she's interested in so you can support and protect as a parent. Because, it does help to know what your kid is really into, just in case there are things that are on the wrong side of what she should be doing and what she should be seeing and what she should be saying. Like, as a child, you don't want her in harm's way. But I also am like, I don't know, she's a person. She has agency over herself. A lot of times children are they're just people.
Yeah, exactly.
They're figuring out that next step, of course. But like, even as a kid, I felt like I knew who I was.
Oh yeah. I always like just felt like an adult. Like, I don't know. I was just like, I am here. I have agency. Like I have my own opinions and thoughts and things that I like.
Yeah.
Like, I don't think your wife is really putting this on her. It sounds like she went up to mommy and was like, what is that? I'm interested.
Yeah.
And it's like, great. They're bonding. Let it go.
Good.
Have fun. But I guess I do get it if it's like going into devil worship or something. But also, like, is that even real? Like, I don't know.
No, and especially if you know that's not what your wife is doing.
Yeah, you keep saying that. Like, he's mentioned that so many times. If that's not what's happening, then chill.
And
let them do yoga.
Where it's like you said, I don't really go to it and I'm not into it. And it's like, okay, well, you seem to care about it. How about you do homework?
Yeah, maybe you could be interested.
And also go do some homework. You care enough to write a
could be
complaint.
hating about it.
Yeah. So that's my opinion on that.
And it's also just like, who cares? Like, if you don't like it, then you don't have to like it, and you can bond with her about other things. Why don't you try introducing her into stuff that you like, and then she could get into that.
Yeah.
Instead of just pushing back so hard on something that they're clearly finding joy in.
Yeah.
And that goes back to what I was saying earlier, is that a lot of people in general, I guess, make fun of spirituality.
Oh, yeah.
And then it becomes a trope.
Yeah.
And
I mean, I think too, like where they, I was reading this book. It's talking about like the history of like goddesses and gods. They were like, when we wanted to split astronomy from astrology and this from this and yin from yang, and like we wanted to just, they created all these lines. They're like, these are not good. These are the things, like math, science only. And when you think of like astrology and like the bad rep it gets, it's one, I get why it gets certain parts of a bad rep because of its being commercialized. But if you actually,
the cosmopolitan, like astrology at the back of it,
where it's like, this isn't true for most people. But if you actually know what astrology is, it's patterns. It's only patterns. It's a screenshot, a picture of the sky the moment you were born. So basically, usually, traditionally, when the sun is in this placement and the moon is in this placement and the stars and the planets, all these things, there's energy. Because if we're all connected, we're a bunch of atoms, which are literally basically little mini planets. If you look at them, that's how they look.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like if we're from stardust and we are stardust, you know what I mean? Like,
it's like, why can't we combine them?
The two. And if you look at it from like a reasonable way, and there's always that funny saying, it's like, billionaires have astrologers. Millionaires don't have astrologers. Billionaires do, or something like that.
I've heard that.
Yeah. Because they want to know when and how, to put money out based off of like, oh, okay, Gemini's in the second house right now. The second house is the house of finances. I have Gemini in this place in my chart. How does that correlate? When would a good time to invest?
Yeah.
When am I more likely? You know what I mean? Like based off of
more into that then.
Shoot, I need to lean in a little more too.
I know. But like astronomers like hate when like people bring up astrology, right?
I think if they're not tapped into the, like if, it's kind of like doctors will be like, don't
like
listen to
Eastern medicine.
Eastern medicine.
Yeah.
Western doctors will be like, no to Eastern medicine. And then you have like friends who grew up doing Eastern medicine and their skin is clearer than fucking, their skin is clear and their brain isn't clogged. And you're like, well, there's something to this Chinese medicine. There's something to these Korean skin. Like there's something to it. You can't just, but we want to be like, oh, everything has to be over the counter because our healthcare is for profit.
Oh, big pharma, baby.
Big pharma. It's about money.
Exactly. Capitalism, baby. But I do think that it's like the people who can see everything as like a full picture.
Yes.
Is like, because there is value in Western medicine as well. And there's value in Eastern, of course. And so I think it's like combining them together.
Yeah.
That would make the world a little bit better. It's the yin and the yang.
Yeah.
Well, we've got one little funny story to end it on. My husband, 30M, and I, 31F, have never seen eye to eye on everything supernatural. I consider myself a skeptic. As much as I like reading fun theories online, I don't believe in ghosts at all. This has always been a source of arguments between us, as my husband likes to jokingly rile me up about being so close-minded. Meanwhile, my husband is the polar opposite. He's a huge believer in all things paranormal, scary movies, tarot cards, and he's always believed that he had a special relationship with the other side. On our honeymoon, he made us change suites since the one we booked apparently had an upset entity inside.
Ooh.
A few months ago, it started becoming more than just a hobby. Every night after finishing work, he'll leave the house for 3 to 4 hours to ghost hunt.
Okay.
From his nightly pictures and live streams on Facebook, he's basically spending the whole time walking the streets in our area searching for ghosts and, quote, looking for people in trouble. He's like a Ghostbuster.
Is he making an income from this at all?
No.
Because I'm like, if he's influencing now as a Ghostbuster, like a viral
story.
That's a different story.
He's
I'm like,
at work, babe.
I was going to say 3 to 4 hours is a job.
No, truly.
Like, if this is just a hobby that's gotten out of control, we have to rein this in. Even if it is a job that you have to do less hours, like you worked a full 9 to 5 and then you came home from 5 to 9 to Ghost Bus
for 4 more hours. At first, some of our friends thought it was a joke, but recently some have even reached out to me asking if he's okay.
Oh no.
It got worse when I returned home to a dozen packages which contained my husband's ghost hunting gear. He's never cared about his appearance before, but he bought a whole new wardrobe for his ghost hobby.
Oh no.
Although the whole thing was always a bit too much for me, especially since all of our friends are seeing his posts. Oof, his insistence on going out every night is the worst bit since we have a 1-year-old.
Oh my gosh.
Before this, we both spent time together looking after him, but my husband's new hobby makes evenings very lonely. Last week, I was on a Zoom call with my mother who had a strained relationship with my husband to begin with. She brought up that one of her friends had recently been hospitalized. My husband, who was not part of the call until this point, jumped in and told my mother that she should consider getting an exorcism so that the angry spirits causing her friend's illness wouldn't get her too. The call was a breaking point for me. I talked to my husband afterwards about how inappropriate the whole thing was, especially as my mother basically hasn't slept from worry, but he refused to see any problem. We've been married for just over 2 years. In a lot of other areas, we make a great team and he's the love of my life. But in my opinion, this is going too far for a hobby and making our lives difficult.
Yeah. Too far. Are we in couples therapy? Like, who are we talking to about this? How are we breaking this habit?
Yes.
This isn't sustainable in a marriage with a 1-year-old. It's just not sustainable.
No, it's not okay.
Healthy. It's not okay.
It's not okay to be out after work.
Yeah.
Doing anything.
And it's creepy and weird. Like, I hate to be called out a weirdo energy, but like, you're
too far.
You're out for 4 hours walking around the neighborhood. If I was out in like a certain neighborhood, they'd call the cops on me.
Oh, true.
Yeah.
So true.
At 4 hours, it's dark outside. What are these?
He must be a white man.
Yeah, it has to be a full white man. Because I'm like, sir,
no one else is getting away with it.
If a black man was walking through a neighborhood ghost hunting at 9 p.m., like
with like a ghost hunting gun with equipment.
With equipment. Clearly, yeah.
Only a white man would do this anyway.
Yeah, only a white man would do this. Like, this is peak white guy energy.
It really is.
I do feel like I'm like, if you like Ghost so much, like there's a ton on TV. Watch Ghost on CBS.
Yeah, exactly.
Such a fun show. I love it.
Oh, I know.
It's one of my favorite shows.
I legitimately, I was in this writing group like
Yeah.
pre-2020 or something.
Yeah.
And I legitimately brought in this idea, like ghosts.
Yeah.
And they read it and everything. And then they all go, this is a show already, right? Like they're making this on CBS because it was a BBC show.
Oh, yeah.
And then they were like, yeah, that's like coming out on CBS like this fall. Like I legitimately had the exact same idea, like not in the manner or whatever, but like in an apartment. Like I wanted to shoot it as a short film.
Yes.
That, like I lived with like all of these like old timey ghosts from different eras.
Gosh,
and I was like, fuck, like that would have been so easy to shoot like during COVID too, like in my apartment. And I was just like, fuck. But it is a really good show.
Yeah.
Hire us.
Go CBS. I've plugged that, I feel like, every podcast at this point.
Well, they're going to hear it eventually.
Eventually they're going to hear. Eventually
they're
going to
be like, she's too desperate. Yeah. Never mind.
She is, though.
But yeah, this is crazy.
Yes,
I'm sorry. This is crazy.
Yeah.
I do think that I would be absolutely mortified if my friends saw the live streams.
Yeah.
I completely understand the asking if he's okay because I have had some acquaintances on social media do some very strange things where I have to ask their siblings or our mutual friends if they are well.
That part.
That would be the worst part. I mean, the 1-year-old not being watched and it all on me is, I guess, the worst part, but I don't know. That's really up there.
Yeah.
The live streams. Oh, I'm sorry.
Live streaming in general, like whenever I accidentally click it on Instagram,
just
I'm like,
so you know, it's
sorry.
always a mistake.
Sorry, I didn't mean to jump into this thing.
But then when you accidentally click on it and then they see that you join and then I'm like, well, I feel like I have to like stay now and like comment a little bit. But then also sometimes I'm like,
I dip right on out. Whoopsies. Sorry.
If you saw me, no, you didn't. I'm out.
You didn't see me.
But yeah, I mean,
this
interesting that
behavior.
This is the last straw. I think my last straw would have been a couple weeks earlier than this.
And
but
like, it makes me also think, like, was she pregnant and you were just leaving the house? Leaving your pregnant wife in the house to ghost hunt?
It does sound like it was just a few months ago, thankfully.
Yeah.
But it's almost like, is this just an excuse to get out of the house because you don't want to be around a 1-year-old? Like,
yeah, it does feel like that.
It could kind of be like, I'm trying to dip my responsibilities, or it could just become like
post-traumatic stress response.
Maybe.
Because everybody can get a post-traumatic stress after a 1-year-old is living in the house.
Girls.
Usually the woman because of the hormones or the girlies. But then if I was a guy and suddenly there was a 1-year-old crying in the house, I might lose my fucking mind.
It's true.
Sorry.
No.
I mean, I might be stressed, but I'm going to take care of my responsibilities because nobody told you to have a 1-year-old.
No, and that's not okay.
That's not okay to be leaving your wife who had just got off of work as well.
Yeah. Or was with the baby the entire fucking day and she needs a break.
Yeah.
Because that's a lot of work.
That's a lot of work.
And you're just gone for 4 hours being a clown, cosplaying a movie from the 80s.
And live streaming it so your friends can see it. You know how embarrassing.
Oh my God, I can't.
And I get like, don't care what people say, but like, is everything all right?
That part.
Like, I would respect it a little more. I do get things are cringe until they're cool. Mm-hmm. So I get like it could start cringing, like you're trying to build out a following in a world.
That's true.
But you also do have to be respectful to your partner and your responsibilities.
Mm-hmm. If you were like a single guy and you were just doing this, then whatever, more power to you.
We put out stuff where we're like, we just got to put out content. It's embarrassing. I'm like, don't worry about my life. I don't
People
care.
From home, don't watch this.
Don't
please.
watch this.
I still want to be seen as cool by you guys.
I feel like they're judging me regardless. So I'm like,
fuck it.
Fine.
But yeah, I think that you need to really be sitting down. Mm-hmm. He needs to go to therapy together, or like get evaluated for like post-traumatic stress or something like that, or postpartum or whatever.
Yeah. And I also, the last thing I'll say on it is the phone call with the mom and saying the exorcism thing. It's like, don't give unsolicited advice like that.
To someone who's clearly worried about her friend.
Exactly.
And I understand maybe saying it to your wife after the fact, like, oh, hey, maybe you should suggest this. But like, have her do that. That's not your place. She already doesn't really like you that much. The mother-in-law doesn't really like him that much. So maybe he's kind of like acting a little like holier than thou in a little bit of way, where he's acting like he knows he's tapped into the secret that no one else knows about. And I do also think that he obviously enjoys doing this, so I don't think it's fair to like take this away from him, because it might not be that he is having a mental issue. It is just like he's going way too hard on a hobby, because some people do this, like with video games or
that's true.
shopping or whatever. Like we all get kind of like addicted to certain things, but it's everything in moderation. So I would say, like, maybe before jumping the gun and being like, you have a mental illness, we need to go to therapy, being like, hey, can we do this like once a week, twice a week? And can you clear it with me that you're going to do this? I think it's really cute that you got your cute little outfit on. Maybe you can like join a group that likes to do this, and then you can be like also socializing. He's like acting like he's a superhero helping people. Like, so it is definitely a little bit on the kooky side, but I think just every parent deserves to like have fun in their lives that is outside of their child and their partner. But you just have to like collaborate on the times that he can do this.
Yes. It's about the amount of time. Like 4 hours is just like, you can't do that with a 1-year-old and a wife. Like that's just a partner, whatever. Like you can't.
There was a comment here saying he's either obsessed with ghosts or he's cheating on you.
If he wasn't live streaming,
oh, that's true. There's proof.
I would be he's fully cheating, because this sounds like an affair, like an insane.
It's an affair with a ghost.
Oh, maybe he's having sex with a ghost.
Now we're excited. Is that cheating? I don't know. Let us know, guys. If you found out your partner was having sex with a ghost,
would you think getting freaky with a ghost? Would you think that was cheating, or would you just think your person was crazy?
Probably the latter.
Yeah, probably the latter. What do you mean?
All right, well, let's wrap it up with a little breath work, and you guys at home can play along.
I'll do a little disclaimer. Don't do breath work while using machinery or driving or doing anything that requires like a level of attention that you don't have.
So if you're driving, pull over.
This
is important.
If you're, in the hospital giving birth, don't do it right now. Although
you're busy.
You are working on that breath.
Thank you so much for listening to Deeds for Drama while you're giving birth.
Hell yeah.
The first things that your baby hears is my voice.
Aw.
What a lucky baby.
What a lucky baby. So we could just do a 3-part breath, conscious connected breath, where it's all connected. The inhale is connected to the exhale. We could do 2 nose inhales and then a mouth exhale. Okay. So I'll give you an example. So let's jump in and do 1 minute. And usually this is just a great way to reset, clear your brain, and just like connect to your body. Just 1 minute. All it takes is 1 minute for it to tap in. All right, let's jump in. 3, 2, go. You're doing great work. You are safe. It's okay to be in your body in this moment. It's okay to be present. About halfway there. Three more breaths. One last big one. That was only 1 minute. How do you feel?
Good. A little lightheaded.
Yeah, a little lightheaded.
Feels good though.
It's like a little energy boost, a little lightheaded.
Yeah, I almost feel like I just like took a hit of a cigarette or something, that like feeling of like you're a little like, lightheaded.
Woo. Yeah.
Like, woo. But it feels good.
Like a good hit, yeah. I recommend that like at least
really
once
good.
a day, especially when you feel like you just are about to explode or just want to like tap in a little bit.
Yeah.
And it's that quick.
I love it.
Yeah.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Well, check out Shakira's podcast. I'm Kind of That Witch.
Thank you.
She gets into all things spiritual, but also like AI. She did a whole theme on AI, ghosts, breathwork, aliens. So it's kind of like mine where there's like a topic per episode.
Yes.
So check it out. I'll link it in the show notes. It's really fun and it's funny. She's got comedians coming on. So
yeah. And
it's a good time.
At Shakira Paye I have a link in my bio on IG and on TikTok.
Mm-hmm.
And TikTok I do.
Yeah, she does like spoofs on
Yes,
spiritual.
Yes.
It's so fun.
Insane videos.
Yeah. I love it.
Yay. Thank you for having me. This was a blast.
Course. Thank you so much for joining. I really appreciate it. And thank you guys so much for listening. Remember, you can't spell drama without D.